Hello students, welcome you all to the discussion of a new topic in the energy environment subject, that is environmental pollution. So basically, the students, the environmental pollution is nothing but it is including all the other types of pollutions, that is the air pollution, then it is the noise pollution, then the soil pollution, water pollution, nuclear hazards. So all when it is accounted, is taken into account. They are nothing but they are responsible for deteriorating the environment. So altogether, we term it as environmental pollution. So in today's class, students, we'll be learning different types of pollutions which are contributing to the discussion of the environment termed as environmental pollution. So with respect to this, if you have any doubts, already on the slide, you can see here I have highlighted my email IDs where you can send me an email and get clarified your doubts, as well as even my WhatsApp number is also available here, through which you can also get clarified your doubts. So now, moving ahead regarding discussion of different types of pollution strands, the first pollution which is we're going to learn is, you can see here, that is the air pollution. So you can see in the picture there is a flight which is going in the sky releasing a lot of amount of smoke. There are the factories which are emitting a large amount of smoke. Then the cars which are there. So you know that the fossil fuels itself, I don't think, but they are a major contributors, you can say, destruction of the environment, especially the air pollution. So if you observe the different types of causes, students, the first cause is the fossil fuels itself. The fossil fuels, especially we are using in the different sectors, that is the transportation sector, we are using the fossil fuels. Then we are preferring in the industries, factories. So everywhere the fossil fuels are taken, they are burnt, and when they are burnt, the different gases which they are released, that is the sulfur, carbon, nitrogen, then hydrocarbons, then NOx. These are the gases which are causing a damage to the air. Automatically the air gets polluted, and when the air gets polluted, becomes difficult even for all the living beings to sustain that particular environment. So now, the fossil fuels generally which we are using, if you observe the students, day by day, the number of the fossil fuel consumers is also increasing. If you observe itself in every home, there is a two-wheeler, four-wheeler, which are more than one. Every member needs to run on his own vehicle itself, which means the fossil fuel consumption is increasing. Similarly, every city, every place has increased or installed new industries automatically where the fossil fuel is consumed, and whatever the gas are emitted, they're directly entering the air, because of which heavy amount of destruction happens to the air itself. So that is the reason in the cause we have placed this fossil fuel at number one position. Second is the agricultural activities. So in the agricultural activity, the main agricultural activity which leads or which is contributing for the air pollution is, once the crops are harvested, then the crop remains which are there, we call them as the residues, which are there in the land, they have to be taken out. But the farmers generally, the easiest method they prefer is burning the residues. So when they burn the residues, students, a large amount of smoke is generated, which is very dangerous. And this smoke which is released, again it is consisting of highest amount of carbon, hydrocarbon with NOx, SOx, and when it enters the atmosphere, students, automatically the air gets polluted. So therefore, in other words, what you can say, students, the farmers, when they are taking out the residues, if they use another method or alternate method instead of burning them, so automatically this can be avoided. So we had seen around 4 to 5 years back, especially regarding this agriculture activities, some of the states which were facing the major problem was the Delhi, then the Punjab and Haryana. So when the farmers, after their crops are harvested, when they are burning the residues, large amount of smoke was generated. And because of this smoke, in these states, especially in the winter season, they were suffering a problem that the air would get polluted and would develop smog or fog. And because of this, students, this smog or fog which is generated It was so much thick that many times we would see there that up till morning 11 a.m. or even after 12 p.m. there was heavy fog, heavy smoke, because of which there was many accidents also happened. So after the fossil fuels, the next you can say the major contributor towards the air pollution is nothing but the agricultural activities itself. Then this third one is the wasteland landfills. You know that every city, every taluk, it is having a municipal community or a body which is monitoring, or you can say that which is the having a major role of taking away the wastage from the houses, from the hotels, restaurants, and the dumping to a common place. So we call that common place where the waste has been dumped as a thing, but it is known as the landfill. So every day a large amount of waste is generated at our houses, other places. It is being collected and it is dumped in the landfills. The very important problem is, students, the wastes which are taken away, that is the different kinds of wastes, if they are treated very properly in the landfills, then there is no problem. But if you go on dumping continuously itself, students, then what happens? There are different types of gases being emitted. The gases which are emitted, they are having a highest concentration of sulfur, nitrogen gases, hydrogen, hydrocarbons, carbons, and when they enter the atmosphere again, they make it unsuitable for the people who are residing in the surrounding areas, and the air pollution becomes very much dangerous. So why we are talking with respect to air pollution, students? You know that a human being without water he can stay for some time, but if you don't have very clean air, automatically what happens? Your health starts to deteriorate. So that is the reason we are stressing in the pollution. In the first very case is the air pollution itself. So as I said, in the landfills, we have seen these happenings very cases. So the recent cases which we have seen in our state itself, in the Karnataka, is yeah, I think many times you have heard regarding the Belandur Lake, especially in the Bangalore. And in this lake, a large amount of waste has been dumped, because of which, students, nowadays in this Belandur Lake, it automatically catches fire. Why? Because the waste which has been dumped continuously, they become toxic, and with respect to only the temperature itself, they are characterized with fire and again releasing large amount of smoke. So this is the thing, but again a waste itself. Then, as a students, now everywhere we are starting, we are having startups, we are developing factories, industries, and these factories, industries, they running with the help of the fossil fuels itself. They are burning fossil fuels which are generating large amount of smokes, and again nothing but contributing to the destruction of the air itself. Then the next is mining operations. So you know that when in the Earth's interior crust, as we go on digging inside, there are a lot of gases which have been trapped, and when those gases along with the dust, when they come out, they are polluting the air itself. So even the mining operations are also a cause for the air pollution itself. Then we have the indoor air pollution. So indoor air pollution is the thing but at our house, students. So many times we have seen our ancestors, especially during the festivals, that is Dasara, Deepavali or Yugadi. Before the festival comes, they go for cleaning the houses. So why they clean the houses? Because you know that the large amount of dust is being deposited, and if you don't clean them, we are the person who are leaving them in the houses. We in the same air, we get the problems. That is the reason some people are having dust allergy also. So frequent if air is not the dust is not cleaned, it leads to indoor air pollution. And apart from that, a very important thing is in the kitchen area, students. In the kitchen area for cooking, if we are using the LPG cylinders, that is a very good case where it is clean fuel, it doesn't generate any smoke. But instead of that, you are using wooden stoves, especially in the villages. We have seen many people, they are still using the wooden stoves. So what happens, again to run these wooden stoves, we need to what supply the wood for burning, and again when the wood is burned, again the smoke is generated, and again it is responsible for the damage of the air itself. Then the next last one is the natural events. So the natural events, friends, they're nothing but they are the volcanoes. You know, volcanoes eruptions occurs every year continuously. Similarly, there is a cause of fire in the forest, especially the Amazon forest. Fire which catches forest which catches fire. Then apart from that, there are even dust storms also. So these natural activities are also nothing but they are responsible for the damage to the air itself. So they are nothing but they are also a cause for the air pollution. Now let us see what are the effects of air pollution. So the effects of air pollution, as I said, students, air is very very important for human being. Without water, he can stay for some time, but if we don't have a clean air, automatically his health deteriorates. So the very very important thing is, if you observe, he will be suffering from the respiratory and heart problems, that is the bronchitis. He may suffer from lung cancer. Very, very important. Sometimes even they may get the asthma also. So the clean air, if it is not there, the first major important cause is nothing but the effect is the respiratory diseases. Next is child health problems. So, especially students, if you observe, when I was discussing regarding the Belandur Lake, the people who are residing there, especially when the pregnant woman, because of continuous toxic air inhaling continuously, in those areas it was seen that the pregnant woman, after 6 or 7 months, the baby would go for miscarriage, such type of health problems issues occur. And apart from that, once the child is born also, so he is suffering from breathing problems. So these are this is also nothing but an effect with respect to the child health problems. Then the next is the global warming. We have discussed once the global warming is a very very hot issue, and this global warming we know that continuously in the global warming, a large amount of gases, that is nothing but the carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, which are released, they are entering the atmosphere, and these are the gases which are responsible for increasing the temperature, which is nothing but the increase in the global warming are affecting the greenhouse gas emissions, and again leading to ozone layer depletion also. Then apart from that, when these gases enter directly in the atmosphere, as I said, when the rainwater mixes with these gases and they form acidic acid rain, and this acid rain falls back to the earth itself, it causes damage to the plants, animals, and the human beings also. So ultimately, these gases, when they mix with the water, and especially with the in the rain form, the acid which is developed, which is responsible for these cases. Then eutrophication, it is a new concept. Eutrophication is a thing, but when the continuous deposits of sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide happens upon the sea surface, then a new type of algae is developed. The new type of algae is developed. We call it as the eutrophication factor, and this algae or bacteria which is responsible thing, but the developed due to the excess deposition of the sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen. So it is a very very damage which they are releasing a large amount of gases to the environment, such that it is very much danger for the mankind. Then apart from that, as I said, only not only the animals, the human beings are affected, even the wildlife is also affected. You see, many times when we are having some of the things such as pollutions and all, especially the number of birds, animals in those particular region, it goes on decreasing, because we itself, the human beings, when you are unable to live in them, so how can I say that even those things, that is the plants, animals, birds can reside, so their number also goes on decreasing. Then, as I said, increase in the greenhouse gas emissions, especially the excess use of our refrigerators. We have seen many times we say that our refrigerators, air conditioners are liberating CFC, it is the chlorofluorocarbons, or HFC, hydrochlorofluorocarbons. They are emitting a lot of amount of gases to the atmosphere, which are nothing but causing a damage to the ozone layer, which is whose main function is filtering the ultraviolet rays. When they directly enter towards the earth, they get damaged, even the damage the plant, animals, and other things also. So because of that, this is also a very very important fact. How we can control them? Yes, as I said, students, burning of fossil fuels is a major cause for the air pollution. The first important thing is use for transportation, that is the public mode. Why I said this point was, I said in every house, every individual wants his vehicle itself. So if you observe itself, or if I take my case itself, in our house also we are having one two wheeler, one four wheeler. So, but the very very important thing is how we use them. So if you are traveling to the same area for work or for study itself, so you may choose the public transport, which means a single vehicle where number of people can be accommodated very high. Automatically, the pollution level can be decreased. Similarly, The next important thing is good household practices. As I said, reduce or stop the usage of the wooden stove. Go for the LPG gas cylinders, electric stoves. Automatically, which don't emit more number of smoke, which is the thing, but you can control this to a greater extent. Then go for conservation of energy. So this is a very important factor right now. Every day, many times we hear the news, we are having energy efficient devices, we go for conservation of energy. So how you can do is, whenever at your place, if you don't need a fan, light or any electrical appliances, try to switch off them, because the electricity which is you are using them, it is generated by burning the fossil fuels itself in the power stations. So, if unnecessary use is to be reduced, automatically even the consumption of fossil fuels can be reduced, which is the thing. But you will be a contributor for reducing the air pollution in the environment. You will be proud of yourself. So, at least many times we write only the proverbs in the colleges on the boards and all. Avoid using of excess use of electricity and all, but we don't follow. See, this is the rule of an individual who should take part, and you should be active in this. And wherever it may be, at a house, it may be at office, wherever, if you see that the electricity is not required, please try to switch off those fans, bulbs and all, such that you can reduce the use of fossil fuels. Then today, nowadays, students, the very important thing is we are moving towards the new concept. We call it as the reduce, reuse and recycle. That is nothing but we call them in short form as 3 R's. Is whatever things or whatever we are using for our daily life, once their usage is left, what you can do is, as I said, this concept that reduce itself. As I said, we are using the fossil fuels. So if you try to reduce the fossil fuels to greater extent, automatically you are reducing the level of air pollution in the environment. Similarly, there are some things, students, we can reuse them continuously. For this, the best example is, when we go towards the market, when we purchase any other products, we ask the shopkeeper to give a polythene bag. But instead of that, if you have a cloth bag itself, so you can reuse this cloth bag continuously. Similarly, wherever things it is possible, try to recycle them. So recycling in the sense, as I said, the plastic water bottle. So after our usage, we just simply throw it on the in the outings that is in the society. So, but instead of that, students, if we go for recycling of those bottles, we can use them. So these are some of the cases where you can use or you can implement compulsory the 3R technology. Then emphasis on clean energy resources. Yes, always opt for the process or the things which are having clean energy. As I said, example of LPG, EV vehicle. Then apart from that, devices which are emitting lesser emissions, go for biofuels. So these are all nothing but they are a form of responsible for developing a clean energy itself. Then use energy efficient devices. So no need of that one. You know that now everybody at your home, you are using the LED lamps. So LED lamps, why you are preferring the LED lamps? Because they are consuming less amount of electricity. You are getting good amount of the output. So less amount of electricity, less amount of fossil fuel burn. Automatically, what happens? There is energy efficiency. Similarly, other kinds of devices. So always when you are purchasing some electronic appliances, try to choose for the device which is higher, having more number of star rating. So more number of star rating is nothing but it is a good quality device, it is an energy efficient device, and it is causing less damage to the air pollution cases. So this is it with respect to the air pollution. Similarly, the next very important, as I said, after the air for a human being is the water itself. And nowadays, as I said, students, water is nothing but it is responsible for every living thing to be sustained in the environment for its survival, you can say. And you know that on our earth, how much we have the pure percentage of water from the entire 79%, we are having only 2 or 3% as the good water, which is survival for all the kinds of microorganisms. And again, we are responsible for the damage of the clean water itself. So right now, you can see here in the picture itself, it is nothing but the sewage water from the municipals, industries, factories, which is entering the fresh water bodies. It will be the lakes and seas and the oceans. See, You can see in the picture itself. So now here in the water pollution happens, see, as I said, the causes, what happens? The first cause is the sewage itself. If you are residing in a locality area, especially in taluk or city, please do observe regarding what happens to sewage water from your city which is collected, how it is disposed of. So why I said this one is every day, as I said, after the air, the next important factor which is responsible for the human beings or the other living creatures and thing, but the water itself. But the water which is there with respect to our selfishness, students, we use it, but after that, when it is disposed of, it has to be disposed very carefully. Otherwise, what happens? It will pollute the other bodies or other organisms, and their death occurs. So therefore, the sewage when it is released to the water bodies, they are having a large amount of arsenic, lead, and other lead and other poisonous material which are causing or damage the water bodies. So as I said previously, the case of Vilandur Lake, so it is having high amount of arsenic and lead also. Because of that, it catches fire automatically every year. Then next, industrial wastes, as I said, the industry is they are developing a variety of products, and for the variety of products they need the water as a very very important raw material itself. So once the water which is used for their purpose, then the remaining waste water, we say, it is taken away from the industries, and where they are going to dump, again they are going to dump into the freshwater bodies itself, that is the lakes, the rivers, and the seas itself, and again the same is affecting the water bodies itself. So the industrial waste also playing a very very important role in the damaging the water bodies. Agriculture, students. So the next cause is agriculture. So regarding agriculture, I would say that we know our farmers, for a good yield, they are using the fertilizers, pesticides. But students, many of the farmers who are using them, they don't know how much quantity of fertilizer or how much quantity of pesticide has to be used for a particular type of a crop. If the excess use happens, you know that when the water is sprayed, again this fertilizer pesticide gets washed off, it enters, it may be entered into the earth through the food, it enters for human beings itself, for other creatures, or when heavy rainfall occurs, the rainwater washes away these fertilizers or pesticides, and it enters the fresh water bodies. So again, it leads to what? The pollution itself. And for this, right now, the which major cause happening is already we have discussed also. There is a train which is traveling from Punjab to Rajasthan every day. They call it as a cancer train. Why they call this as cancer train? Because here in this train, around 80% of the people who are traveling from Punjab to Rajasthan, they are affected with cancer. Why? Because in the Punjab, during the agriculture, heavy amount of fertilizers and pesticides were used, because of which right now, as I said, out of 100 people in the Punjab, 80 to 85 people are suffering from cancer disease itself. And you know, nowadays the cancer is so much costlier, that the medicines required are not easy to you consumed by the local people, which is not affordable by local people or a poor people. So because of that, every night from Punjab to Rajasthan, a train which travels carries more number of cancer patients. That is the reason they call it as a cancer train. Then mining activities, already we have discussed in the air pollution also. As I said, during the mining activities, whatever the resources are mined, they are washed away, then they are treated for different forms of water, and this after treatment, when this it is released again, it is released directly in the water bodies itself. So because of that, it leads to the cause, it is a cause for the water pollution. Then oil spills, we know that the fossil fuels, especially the petroleum products which are there, they are mainly in the water bodies itself, especially in the seashores and oceans, and from there they are taken away through the pipelines to the industries, to the processing, and tankers also. So when it is being transferred to the pipelines and tankers also, there are some accidents, leakages. So automatically what happens? It enters the fresh water bodies, and automatically it is also a cause for a water pollution. Then the next is radioactive waste, students. You know, especially the nuclear metal which we are using, that is in the radioactive nuclear reactors. after its usage, whatever the waste is there, it has to be disposed of. But what we do is, the alternate way of disposing is, we pack it, seal it, and dump it into the deep sea or oceans. Why? Because the temperature of them is very very low, and because of that, the life cycle of that radio waste can be decreased to some extent. But even when it has to be when it has to be done, again we are choosing again water as per its disposal itself. So it is also a cause for water pollution, students. Now, what are its effects and control measures? So, what are its effects? As I said many times, especially during the water is being polluted, is consumed by the people. They are suffering some from the waterborne diseases in the form of cholera. They are suffering from cholera. They are suffering from dysentery, hepatitis B. So these are the common waterborne diseases. Why? Because when the water gets polluted, it is consumed by the local people. So they are suffering from this disease. The World Health Organization, it says that in the world every year 2 billion people they are suffering from the waterborne diseases. Why? Because the water is being polluted to a greater extent. Then again, as I said, in the air pollution itself, here also when the water bodies, the algae grows, they are nothing but they're polluting the water bodies itself. So nothing but there is an eutrophication which is responsible for the damage of the water bodies itself. Then the next is the contamination of food chain. So contamination of the food chain, students, as I said, when the polluted water enters the fresh water bodies, there in the fresh water bodies there are fishes, there are phytoplanktons, there are some seawater weeds. So they are all using the same water for their survival. And again, the we human beings, we are consuming the same fish from the polluted water bodies. Automatically, what happens? The fish health has been damaged. We eat the same fish, our health gets damaged, and the cycle goes on. So automatically, there is a contamination of the food chain even in these cases. So automatically, what happens? There is a destruction even in the environment. Also, the environment gets damaged. Then this is very very important, students, the impurities of the groundwater. So many times when we are using the groundwater, after whatever it is necessary, please see that we give many advertisements also regarding try to use water efficiently. Why? Because once the water gets polluted, its impurities increase, and if the impurities increase are consumed by some other organisms, they are nothing but their death may occur. There may be even their problems also. So that is the reason, students. This is very very important effects for the water pollution. Then, what are the control measures? This is very very important thing. The control measures, students, if you observe here, the first very important point they have said is avoid the wastage of water. Yes, as I said, the fresh water source which is available for us is only 1 to 2% in the entire world. So if you go on polluting the water day by day, I think the day will come how in the oxygen we have oxygen in the hospital for stored in cylinders. Definitely, then we'll be storing water even those kind of cylinders also. So proper fresh water usage has to be reduced. And the common thing how you can practice is avoid running of the water at your homes, especially when not used, especially for cooking or in the bathrooms or the washing machines, or especially the other purpose, that is cleaning the vehicles and all. I prefer the pipes itself. So instead of that, take a bucket and mug and go for cleaning them. So automatically you can reduce the water usage for a greater extent, which means the wastage can be reduced. Then every industry is before they start their working in the should make some laws such that whatever the waste generated from the industry, it may be in the form of an air or the water form, how they are going to treat it before they dispose it off. So the laws have to be implemented strictly, then only it can be practiced. So as I said, the industrial effluents which are coming from the industry, before they are disposed of to the water bodies, they should be treated chemically, where the toxicity can be reduced to a greater extent, which means it cannot affect the other food chains. Then, apart from that, as I said, try to reduce the use of pesticides and fertilizers. So, already, as I said, students, in our India, there is a state known as Sikkim, which has already banned the use of fertilizers and pesticides in their state. The state government only has banned, and they have opted to go for only organic farming. So automatically, when you don't have pesticides and fertilizers, the farmers will opt for organic farming. So automatically, the cause for water pollution can be avoided to a greater extent. So similar as I said, for each kind of particular crop, how much amount of pesticide fertilizer is required has to be known, and that consumption only reduces the damage. Then the sewage which is there, students, before it is left out from the municipal authorities from the municipal communities towards the water bodies, try to treat that particular sewage where the toxicity can be reduced to a greater extent such that it cannot affect the water bodies. Then especially I said, especially every year you see that or if you observe your surroundings homes also, many times we see that there are many much blocks especially running through the gutters and all. Why? Because we have a common habit that whatever the things we use, it may be the shampoo sachets or the milk packets and all, we just simply throw away in the garbage. But what happens, students, especially in the gutters, when we throw it out, they get choked, they get the blocking happens, and what happens? Automatically, the entire pipeline which is carrying our sewage, it gets blocked, and it leads to the problem of the human beings itself. So see that try to not throw those activities automatic or it leads to the blocking of the water also. Then especially in the rivers and the lakes or seas, you should not go for the cleaning of the utensils, clothes, or bathing of animals. Why? Because the same water is taken for the drinking purpose, usage purpose, and we itself we are responsible for damaging our health. If possible, we say that we go for we have launched many number of missions, many number of activities, and every year we are saying that we practice many of the societal programs such as Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and all. So this is should be done from time to time, that is cleaning of the rivers and lakes continuously. Automatically the level of water pollution can be done to a greater extent. So this is it with respect to the air pollution, water pollution. The remaining pollutions will be discussing in the tomorrow's class. That is the next class, students. Thank you.